Hey guys, Mitko here from DN Models. Today we're going to take a closer look at one of the most popular and well-known Sparmax airbrushes on the market, SP-35C. It is part of the SP series of airbrushes known for their reliability and affordable price, this specific one being different than the others from the SP line by the tail stopper it has. It features a nozzle with diameter of 0.35 millimeters, and it's of course dual action airbrush with single action converter and some bonuses included in the set. We have a wrapping of cardboard that has a general description of the airbrush and an oval box carefully wrapped in a plastic bag which is reusable. The box has a clasp and the overall shape is space saving. The lid on the top of it is slightly darkened with sprinkles of shiny particles all around it, which makes it more user-friendly for the beauty industry. Opening the shell, we have the airbrush, a nice blue cleaning brush, the standard wrench, the single action converter, and the crown cap. On the bottom of the box are the instructions. The airbrush features 2 ml cup, as in the same time combines it with larger nozzle, being very interesting and controversial combination. The airbrush is made of high quality materials with nice coating, allowing for easy cleaning and durability even with constant usage and continuous maintenance. Now, without any special preparations, let's test it as it is out from the box. That means no preliminary greasing nor any other preparation. Straight from the store as it is. Our testing will start with dark gray color from Tamiya diluted in a ratio of 60-40, lesser one being the diluter, which is IPA. Have in mind that this was done on a very hot and dry summer day with outside temperature of about 30 degrees Celsius. The airbrush sprays in its original settings with the original closed cup. This is its very first spray session and it holds pretty nicely. The trigger is soft and smooth and the paint flow seems steady. The one thing that I believe will improve things is the lubing of the airbrush in general, but I've said that we won't do that for the demonstration purposes. The pressure is pretty standard for most of you out there, but I tend to use higher settings than this quite often. Now let's check the crown cap. With it, the lines are more refined because the air slips out throughout the openings. More precision works is doable that way. Many won't even use the cup at all. Next thing to do is to lower the pressure a bit. This is the most widely used pressure as far as I know, and as you can see, even with more trigger action, it works fine. During the dry day like this, it might cause quickly drying needle tip and some disruptions in the fine lines. This is not uncommon with whatever pressure settings and can be easily fixed by adjusting the diluter in your paint cup and constantly cleaning the tip of the needle. That's why it's the brush actually. With more diluted paint, spraying is easier and larger surfaces are a breeze to be covered. Accidents can happen with splatters, for example, due to the more diluted paint being accumulated on the tip. The one you just saw can easily ruin your project if it happens while spraying, so be sure to test it aside before you start spraying over the model. In time, of course, the diluter starts to evaporate and things begin to happen just as they should be. This means that the most precise work is dependent on your paint and pressure settings, especially with acrylics. Such problems with enamels are almost never present. All that being said, you can see that the airbrush handles pretty nicely for a startup session. With fine settings and lubing the needle and the trigger, this will be smoothed out even more. I avoid painting in very humid or very dry days, as well as during very hot or very cold ones. In general, you should check the environment first, but the conclusion here is that the airbrush works very nicely even with the unfriendly environment of the testing day. Now, before I start using the airbrush for the first time, and right after the first session too, I go through the instructions. Sparmax provided enough information on how to deal with cleaning and troubleshooting of the airbrush, so be sure to familiarize yourself with it, especially if this is your first airbrush. Since I almost always clean the airbrush after spraying, I sometimes check the assembly in case I am in doubt about something. Not always, but within a couple of sessions I clean the nozzle too, but not today. The two most important things I need to be sure of are the rubber seals or the O-rings and the wrench work, in this case the nozzle only. Pretty much all the airbrushes are equal, however, since I have many different variations, I tend to check the instruction just to be sure I am not doing something wrong. The airbrush here has bonuses in the set, like the crown cap, cleaning brush and single action adapter, making it self-sustainable airbrush set. Opening it for the first time might be tricky in case this is your first airbrush, so be sure to work with extra caution. Unscrewing everything is important, providing you with an idea where you need to clean your airbrush. I first removed the needle, then cleaned the caps with which I was painting. From a short spray session, the nozzle won't require anything more than a flush, but after a few sessions, be sure to clean that too. Whatever you are doing, I will advise you to flush your nozzle with 2 or 3 cups with cleaner or diluter sprayed at the max pressure setting to remove any residue inside of your airbrush. Also, I do always check everything twice before I use Teflon lube to grease the needle and the trigger, but this is something that we are going to do some other time. After cleaning everything thoroughly, assembly of the airbrush is a process not less responsible and tricky than the disassembly. Putting back the needle with too much pressure can damage your nozzle. Putting the nozzle cover and the crown cap can do too. Also, if not being careful, you can damage the threads or even decenter the nozzle, which will lead to some troubles. If you want to be 100% sure that everything was cleaned and then assembled properly, you can spray IPA in a short session right after the cleaning process. That will show if some damage has been done. In general, this is the most important part of any spray session, no matter the airbrush you're using. Sometimes you can even improve them with proper lubing and polishing the needle from time to time. But then again, the airbrush was working very nicely from the get-go, so keeping it as it is will be just fine. I want to emphasize on the importance of the airbrush ergonomics here. I am dealing with 32nd scale aircraft more often than not, and using comfortable and well-balanced airbrush is a must for me. The weight of the Sparmax SP-35C is just where it should be. Lighter than this, as with Chinese replicas, and you won't have an accurate aim. Heavier, well, if it's not a pistol grip airbrush, it will tire your hand pretty quickly. In general, the combination between the 0.35mm nozzle and the small cup here is unusual, but as you saw, it works just fine. It can spray even better with 1 or 2 more hours of testing if you need a familiarization process with your airbrush. The set comes at very affordable price, with bonuses that makes it self-sustainable even as your only airbrush, which honestly, I doubt that will happen. I have more than a few in my collection and this one goes to the better half of them. Hopefully, you liked that short review and testing, and if you did, subscribe for more. Comment down below. Sincere thanks for watching this, and to Sparmax for providing me with this sample. Check out the channel for other reviews, and I will see you in the next one.